if it cranks, let's see. Woo! Let's go, baby! Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing wiring harness things in this video. We got Jude here. He's got his row blue shirt. Go Michigan.
What's up, guys?
Isn't that what it's for? Michigan rowing?
Michigan rowing. My sister's Michigan rower.
That's dope. I have the wiring harness for the E30. Andrew Harvey from HarveyRacingLLC.com sent it to me. I made a Facebook post on E30 S54 group and I'm like, yo, I gotta start doing the harness for my car. I need a harness, blah, 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 blah. And then he replied to me. He's like, yo, I make harnesses. Let me send you one, you know, let's make one. I'm like, all right, cool. I got this harness. It is like, guys, this harness looks so good. Like for an or like for a guy making it at his house. It just looks so good. Everything is like just well made. All the connectors are super nice. He uses all OEM BMW connectors. The quality is what you would expect from a really expensive like harness, like from like Wiring Specialties or somebody like that. Like it's super nice. He also has everything labeled. His instructions are super detailed, well written and well laid out. I think this is pretty cool. Sport mode button, so I'm gonna have like sport mode.
Sport mode.
Sport mode. Here I have the engine harness for the car. So there's a couple things I have to do on this engine harness real quick. I just have to go back and fix some wires that I previously cut because I was gonna end up making my own wiring harness before I got this wiring harness. It's just like 4 wires. I have to go back and actually put them in the connectors. Isn't gonna take me long at all. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing it in this video, but this is the jumper harness like for the O2s and everything, and we have to go through all of this and cut everything out. So the goal for this video is I'm going to try to get the engine to crank over and to get power to the car and power to everything and everything like working. Unfortunately, I don't have my throttle pedal. I still have to get one, or the EKP module for the fuel pump, so the fuel pump won't turn on, or I could steal Jude's throttle pedal.
Not happening.
Because Jude has a E46 with an electronic throttle pedal, and that's just what I need. So I could probably just steal it out of your car.
It's not happening.
Why?
But then this thing's gonna sit in your garage forever.
Huh?
And this is gonna sit in your garage forever, and that's the last thing
I'll just put the throttle pedal back in. Anytime we want to drive our cars, we'll trade throttles.
Yeah. That works.
This big jumble of stuff is the O2 sensor harness. I think what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to get a manual harness because it's just gonna make it way easier and to clean up and do that, because all of these like unnecessary wires is just SMG bull crap, and I don't have an SMG, so we aren't gonna be using that. And last but not least, I have the DME. We're gonna start plugging this stuff in. We're gonna see where we get to and if we can get the engine to turn over. But before we get started, I'm gonna crack a Red Bull open, because Red Bulls are fire, especially Red Bull Zeros. A little Red Bull time. Like I said, this is the jumper harness that Andrew sent me. You guys get him to make a harness for any of your swaps. Think of like any BMW swap or something like that. Any like S54, S62, M54. This has the C101 plug, and he has everything laid out to fit onto the E30 chassis properly. Super cool. I had him put an OBD2 port in it so I can hook up an OBD2 scanner. He has all the fuses. All the fuses have really nice fuse covers on them. Just everything is laid out super nice, and it's done really well. I'm super happy with how this came out. What we have to focus on right now is the engine harness. When I was going to do this wiring harness myself, I actually cut these wires out of it. This is for like the alternator signal, oil level, or oil pressure. Basically, we just have to put these 4 wires back into the harness. Unfortunately, I was kind of an idiot and I cut them really close to the pin out. So to take these pins out, there's like a little thing that you push down, and I'm just taking like this little needle thing, push down on it.
Oh, it's this little needle thing.
Yeah, and then pull it out, and then there's your connector pin, and that will slide in just like that. So this blue wire has to go back onto this blue wire, then everything needs to go back together. Basically, I'm just gonna put all these wires back into the harness. It's nothing that you guys really need to see, so I'm just gonna get this done and then we'll get back to you guys. Throw this harness on, then we are going to throw the jumper harness on. This is ready to go now. What we're gonna do right now is we are going to plug this onto the engine. So we're gonna throw this on, take the trumpets off just because they get in the way. What I like to do, I like to start with the thing for the fuel injectors, because that kind of gets everything laid out. Kind of goes down in there. 2 connectors up here. This is the connector for the Vanos, and that's the connector for the throttle position. Vanos connector will route, plugs into there. Yeah, so normally on the E46, this goes to the front and then this kind of like goes up and around like that. These are all the connectors for the knock sensors. Get those plugged in. That's power for the throttle actuator. Another connector for the knock sensor. This is crank positioning sensor. This will go down here. Plugs in just like that. There's only one wire going into that one, so that one is oil pressure. 2 wires going into that one is coolant temperature. If you guys are doing a swap, you guys are keeping a mass airflow sensor, you will need to extend all of these wires all the way up there. We're doing alpha N, we just need intake air temperature sensor, so I have to figure out which wires do the intake air temperature, then those are the only ones that I need. These are all of the connectors that will run up into the glove box. These wires will come up through there. All right guys, so I have the harness untangled. You can see here how there's almost like 2 sections to it. This section, all of this stuff will be going into your car. I asked them to put the OBD port in the glove box. Some people want it in their engine bay so they can like mount it on their harness cover. This really, really long one is for the throttle pedal. So this is gonna snake all the way down into your throttle pedal. And it's kind of funny because I don't have a throttle pedal right now, but there is a throttle pedal in this garage. Like, I could just take it.
I would be very upset.
Why?
Because it's my goddamn throttle pedal.
So?
We need it, like, for today. For today, we need it. Alright, let's get working.
We're gonna lay this Johnny out. This will eventually go into that side. And then this is for our E30 temperature sensor. I'm gonna have to take the thermostat housing off again and drill it and tap it for a E30 temperature sensor because the E30 temperature sensor or the E30 gauge cluster needs its own temperature sensor. So I'm gonna have to get an E30 coolant temperature sensor and I'm gonna have to tap it into the engine. The C101 plug will sit here and it will plug in like so. Yeah. Just kind of like twist in, then you feel it lock. This is the S54 EKP fuel pump relay. I still have to get an EKP. I don't have one right now. Service and inspection reset thing. So on the E30 gauge cluster, it goes by like how many miles are on it, and then it tells you like, oh, you need an oil change, so it'll light up. It's just kind of cool. To come and reset it, you literally turn the power on to the car, switch it on, wait for it to reset, and then it resets, and then you shut it off, so that's super cool. It's like not necessary, but it's just pretty fancy. This is a 12 volt constant, so this will go over here and get plugged into our main terminal. Now we're gonna come over to this side, and we are going to start trying to organize everything and feed everything through our glove box. So these are our 2 longest wires. This is gonna be for the throttle pedal. So I will have to, just for testing purposes, for right now, I'm gonna throw it over there. But eventually I am gonna have to snake this through the dash. And this, I'm just gonna snake it through right there, and I'll probably mount it like somewhere, I don't know, like maybe there, something like that. Have a little sport thing next to it, say sport mode, sport mode.
Do you want to throw some of them through and I can...
So I'm feeding it in the hole, Jude. I'm feeding it in the hole.
You got it.
Alright, gonna be feeding more stuff in the hole.
It's like roll attention to it.
Feeding this one in the hole.
Okay, grabbing. Got it. Okay. Hey, this is getting really chaotic in here, and I don't think you're gonna be able to. Maybe we'll.
How are we looking in there?
Pretty shitty. Pretty chaotic.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
Super chaotic.
Woo! That's a lot of wires. So we have everything fed through the hole. It's a little bit of a clusterfuck in here. Can I say that on camera?
Yeah. We
I can
say
say that.
fuck all the time.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think
That might have something to do with our YouTube views, because they're not pushing out videos where in the first 5 seconds we're going fucking cunt and shit like that.
should we stop swearing in our videos?
Not all the time, but like the over excessive stuff. I don't know, like calling me a piece of shit's pretty funny. Telling you how to learn how to fucking film's pretty funny.
Dude, literally, like, there's people that watch these videos that probably think we hate each other.
Probably, yeah. Meanwhile, just
I'm like,
the
you piece of
exact
shit.
opposite, yeah.
Learn how to film. All right, so now what we can do, we can take the DME and plug everything into the DME and then start plugging the jumper harness into everything.
Cool beans.
Cool beans. This is an SMG harness, so there's a bunch of extra shit in this. Most of this needs to come out. What I probably should do, just make my life easier, go get a manual harness. And then this is for all of the ignition coil packs, and then this will go into our DME and plug into our DME. Speaking of our DME, dude, should we grab a light for inside the car?
Yeah, you could actually take that one.
Oh yeah,
and
facts.
throw it on
Facts,
somewhere.
on God. Oh, fuck,
Yeah, that's
right.
crazy, dog. Yeah, do you remember when you put that in my face and turned it on?
It's better.
There's just so much light everywhere. I can't see right now. I can't see.
Right like in the back or something.
All right, we got light in the car. See that? So we have like the wire ran through the sunroof, and I like clamped it down with my sunroof.
You should keep that. You should hardwire that thing in here. Yeah, that thing
Little
looks
chandelier.
nice. Yeah,
Little
yeah.
chandelier.
Just way too bright.
The scope of my engineering genius has no bounds.
The scope of my engineering genius literally knows no bounds.
I want to turn it off.
Why?
All right, let's get to it.
I'm a genius, dude. First, we're gonna take the... All right, so the first one we're gonna plug in is the OXX4 connector. This is from the jumper harness. This connector right here, these two wires right here aren't needed anymore, so I just cut them out. This is for the oil pressure, then starter signal. That will go in. Just, oh, that was satisfying. Let's get that again. Let's get that again. Let's get that again.
Wow, that thing looks terrible without the beauty cover on it.
Took the beauty cover off real quick. Jude said it looks like ass. Kind of does. But we're gonna throw the harness for the injectors, or not for the injectors, for the these guys. Slide in just like that. Honestly, what I think we're gonna do with this, I did this on my M52. I cut this up. I cut this harness up, and then I actually ran it out of the back of the harness cover just so we don't see this, you know, because that looks ugly. But for right now, we're gonna leave it like that. So this is gonna plug into the DME. I don't know which spot this plugs in. We're gonna figure it out. Just like that. And then this will hook up into the O2 harness. Oh my God, there's so much going on in such a tight, small little space. Pause. So a lot of that stupid horse shit is plugged in.
Guys, how does it feel to have the best filmer in the East back in town?
We're gonna move on to the starter side of things now, gentlemen. So, in the directions, I'm actually using directions. I think this is the first time on the channel we got a part or we got something where we're using directions. Because anytime I get something, I'm like, I'm not reading those directions. You weren't telling me how to do it. And then I go fuck it up. Quick thing I want to touch on. This is the starter terminal 30H. This is the field terminal. This is the thing that jumps from your starter to your Bendix. You guys see in the description, that is terminal 30H. That is the field terminal. Now this gets connected to it. Do not connect to terminal 30 or terminal 50. This is the main body. Like, this is the main power for the body. This connects to this thing right here. This is basically the main power source for the car that goes back to the battery. And this will connect to that main terminal on the starter, which this connects to, and then that connects to the alternator. So your alternator is turning, giving power to that terminal on your starter, then this is picking power up from it, bringing power to the rest of the car. That starter terminal, or that terminal is gonna go on first, and then the main power terminal goes on. And then, so now I'm sliding the start signal terminal on. Then starter terminal 30H, that's this guy. Pull down, right along there. So this is a 13 millimeter that's gonna hold the two main power guys on. Get your bitch ass hands out of the way, boy. Boop, 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 boop. That's my built-in human torque wrench.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna put the ground strap on. I don't have an actual ground strap, so I'm using an M20 starter wire. I guess a wire's a wire. This is gonna be too big, like, don't worry, I'm gonna go over all this shit and clean it up. When I went to paint the engine bay in this car, the ground strap, I just painted over it, so I have to file the paint off. This real long wire, don't worry, we're gonna change that. Like, that's not gonna stay there.
Hey, say it nicer though.
I said now.
No, say it nicer.
Okay, Jude, can you please start filming for me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys. So I have the ground strap hooked up. Now, to get power to the rest of the harness, we need to ground out the rest of the harness, which this is the ground. This is 12 volt constant, so this will go into our main terminal here. Okay, so this will like slip into there, just like that. And that will like mount up like that, all nice and pretty. That will tighten down with a 10 millimeter, and then these positives will go on there. You're right there.
Yeah, does she?
Tighten this bit down, and give it a little clamperooey. And so we're gonna do with this. I think we might be able to hook the battery up and see if it will crank, like see if the starter will engage. And if not, it's probably because we have to finish putting in the jumper harness. And if that's the case, I can plug that in real quick, but that's gonna be a mess. I have the battery hooked up. Now we are going to see what happened. I'm guessing it's probably not gonna crank. Probably gonna have to put the jumper harness in and everything. That's what I'm guessing. But I just wanna see because I'm itching. The starter is spinning, but the Bendix isn't engaging. I just moved the starter signal to a different terminal. We're gonna see what it does now. If it cranks, let's see. Woo! Let's go, baby! Yes, yes!
All right.
Woo! I had the starter signal wire on the wrong terminal for the starter, so it wasn't engaging the Bendix. The next step, we have to dive into this. I think before we do this, me and Jude have access to a BMW E46 parts car. It's not an M3, but it has a manual O2 harness. I think they're the same versus the non-M and the M. And if they are, we're gonna go snag that. And if they aren't, I'm just gonna have to go through. Basically, what I'll have to do is I would basically just have to trace all these wires out, keep everything that's connected to here, and then whatever ones aren't, get rid of them. Shout out to Andrew. You make a killer harness, and directions are super easy to understand, super easy to figure out. Like literally once you get it, it just plugs and play. Like it's a plug and play harness.
Hubert Racing, what is it? Harvey
Racing. Harvey Racing, I'll plug him, go check him out. If you guys are doing this swap, go over and get a harness from that guy. If you're doing like any BMW swap or any, you know, wiring questions or something like that, go hit up Andrew. I'll put all of his information down in the description. I'm gonna look into see if the non-M and the M02 harnesses and like that stuff are the same. And if they are, we're gonna go get that one harness. And if they aren't, I'll just have to take everything out of my other harness. Super stoked about that.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So this is a couple hours later. I'm in the middle of filming 2 videos. We're filming a video on putting a shorter ratio diff in Jude's car at the moment. So I'm like all disoriented because we're like, you know, one clip is for this video, one clip is for that video. But anyways, so off camera, I went over the SMG harness. I made it a lot smaller and I took out everything that I don't need. So this is the harness now, and this is the only stuff that I need. I have the rear O2 sensors, the exhaust gas temperature sensor, all my relays that I need, all the power connectors, and the plugs for the DME. I was gonna try to find a manual harness. I looked into the M54 E46 harness. Will work with this, but they don't have an exhaust gas temperature sensor, which I would have to add that in. I just have this, so I figured let me just cut everything out. Anything that had to do with the SMG, I just cut out and then removed it. I'm gonna install this into the E30 before I go ahead and lay like wire sheathing and everything and figure out how it's gonna lay so I can wrap it up and make it look nice. I just wanna install it just to make sure I don't need to cut and modify anything to get it to fit properly in the E30. This is gonna be a pain to clean up all these wires because this is gonna look like hell. Everything is literally sitting in the glove box. I'm not gonna be able to use my glove box for anything. I'm gonna go ahead and install this, see if I'm missing anything, see if I need to add anything like that. That'll pretty much be it for this video. So I'm gonna get that done and I'll see you guys in a second. I just got the harness installed and this is a bit hectic. There are wires everywhere. And obviously some of these wires need to go into the engine bay, like for the O2 sensors. And I don't have this all wrapped and it's just a bunch of open wires, but it's pretty crazy right now. Going over everything, what we did in today's video. The harness installed. We have Andrew's swap harness, which I just wanna give him a huge shout out and a huge thank you to Andrew because he really does make some really nice harnesses and like everything he uses OEM BMW harnesses. I'm just super happy. Everything laid out in the engine bay very nicely. We did get the SMG stuff all cut out, which I don't know, that is an absolute mess in there. I'm gonna have to spend a couple hours, or like I said, almost an entire day going through everything and cleaning it up. Once we get the car actually started, which hopefully in next video, I should have everything to get the car started. I'm still waiting on the EKP module that sits in here that will turn on the fuel pump. I am waiting on my gas pedal, or well, I have to find a gas pedal, but I should find one, and the fuel pressure regulator. Other than that, I think I have everything to start the engine, but I gotta make a parts list. I gotta order parts so they're here for next video, and I have to edit this video tonight and get it uploaded for tomorrow, and then me and Jude are filming a video for his car tomorrow. So I hope you guys can see how dedicated I am to pumping out this content and just grinding it out until summer when we actually have some serious good content coming. I'm gonna close out the video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Dream so big it's scary. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Boom.
If I could